Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you my process for painting water into a scene. So here we have a quick paint I've just thrown together using my abstraction technique that I showed in my last video, and I want to add some water to this scene. So to start off with, I've basically added a mask into this area and started painting with a local colour. So I've selected the sky, for instance, and full opacity. I've just painted into these rocks like so. So basically wherever I want the water. And then I've selected the pixel lock, and then I've just brushed in some darker tone around here, around the edges. This creates the illusion of depth on the corners. I've also added some different colour interactions. It's all very subtle. You don't want to overdo it. I've obviously turned down the opacity so you can see the rocks underneath. So very quickly you have this illusion of still water. So then what I've done is I've used a water churn brush. So if I go down here, so I create all my own brushes. So this is basically a circle with a scatter on it. So it's like a little bit of opacity. And I've just gone in here, and everywhere where the water kind of clumps together I've added foam, like here on the edges. And notice that I haven't got it everywhere like here. This creates the illusion that some of the areas are hitting rocks and some of the areas are completely still, like that. So here it's quite a big change. So basically I've just added reflection. So all I've done is I've gone up here, I've selected this rock here, I've copy merged it, I've pulled it down like so, and I've turned down the opacity, then I've masked it, and I've just deleted the areas around the mask, so it's only on the water, and I just played down the opacity till I got what I liked, like so. I've also added like a mask to it so that it's very subtle, but I've just erased some of the edges at the bottom of the texture. This creates the illusion that the area underneath is a bit deeper, because you wouldn't see the reflection there. So here I've added some water churn, just in the direction of where the water is flowing, just to add some movement. And with this is the same brush here, and if you add the water churn spaced out, it gives the illusion that it's moving faster, and if I do it really close together like this, it gives the illusion that the water's still. So here where the waterfall has fallen down, I've added bubbles going down in a vertical motion, and I've also erased it towards the bottom so it looks like it's going into the water, and I've created like this circular ripple effect like that. So I have a mixture of soft texture with some highlight on. Let's give it some form. And I've added some splashes. This is with a brush which like this, and again it's all very subtle. It's generally with texture brushes, less is more. You don't want to really overdo it, because that'll look digital and it just look messy. It'll look like a custom brush. So here I've added the water churn, where basically wherever the water interacts with something, like the edge of this rock here, like so, or wherever itself, where it's hitting each other and it's falling down here. And I've kind of made this kind of like rippling shape, just give it some movement. I've also added some, you see the colours slightly different everywhere, just to show that this is water, like it has loads of different depth. There you go. So around here I've actually darkened the rocks as well, so I've basically taken this colour here of the rock and I've made a saturated colour, the shade, to make it look wet. So what I did then is over here I've just used the abstraction method. I've just basically copy merged a bunch of random selections, pasted in the textures to give me this rock surface, and I've added some greenery, like some vegetation, because anywhere there's water you tend to have more vegetation. I've also added some of the vegetation going into water and getting darker, just to give it the illusion that there's some depth there. And I've copy merged this area and I've just pasted over here, and I've just like cut it up a bit and painted onto it, so it looks basically like I haven't copy merged it. So it looks like there's more detail. You can see that's all the same as this texture here. I've just moved it around a bit and painted into it. So I've painted in these edges here and added some different shading and also some colour variation. So a bit like matte painting, you're going to take the lighting and colours and shadows from everything around the object that you've pasted over and just make it look like it's interacting with that local area. Then what I've done is I've painted water. So the water basically wants to find a path going downhill. So because I've added this rock texture here, to make it more interesting, I've added the water like flowing through the rocks. Like here it's actually pooling, and I've added the shadow again to show that it's deeper, and it's just like kind of dripping this time. And having it drip like this and having it fall down like this and split up and having these bubbles all adds movement to the scene, making it more interesting. What did I do here? Oh yeah, so here, so I've basically taken my gradient tool, and this is the radial selection, the second one, and I've just done this. Notice that has the illusion of water vapour, like a bit of mist. Again, you're only doing it subtly, you don't want it everywhere. What did I do here? Oh, that's right, so here you see I've got loads of texture. Everything's kind of happening at the front, and the middle ground's kind of getting lost, so I've just broken it up a bit by adding some water. I've also added like a bit of a bank there, and I've added some the bank proceeding into the water and a bit of darker tone there, just to give it the illusion that it's got some depth. And I've also lowered the opacity a bit so you can kind of see this texture underneath. It's not as obvious as here because this is closer. This one's further away, so you won't see as much, but you'd like subtly pick it up, and it just all helps give that illusion of depth. What was this? Oh, that was my original mask, by the way. So that's the original mask area before I painted in the textures. So what I could also do, I'll just pause the video for a minute, I'll show you some other paintings that I've done some water features in, so you can get an idea of how I use it. So this is a painting I posted recently on my Instagram. And you can see I've basically done the same thing. I've painted over the texture that I've had underneath with like a flat colour, and then I've lowered the opacity. I've added some colour variation to give it that illusion of like reflection. Here I haven't actually added reflection from the environment because the environment's kind of pushed back and it's closer, so you wouldn't get as much reflection. And I've also added, this water is also flowing faster and it's rougher, so you have much more splashes, you have more like clumping together. There's more movements, there's more water churn, where it's interacting with the rocks. So that's more of a sketch. Well, it's not a sketch, it's like a long, I say it's a short painting. So this is a portfolio painting, so this is much more finished. But you can see it's kind of the same thing. I've got local areas where there's reflection. Like here it's more stylized, so I've got like little bits of water churn, like rippling with the leaves here. Here I've got like the water like flowing down, I'd say. You've got a lot of water churn. I've made it kind of in like patterns to give it some interest. It's all the same kind of techniques, so I'm thinking of like how it's interacting, but I'm also stylising it. Here where the deer is standing in the water, you can see like, you can kind of see her hoofs, or his hoofs I mean, in the water. You can see some water churn around where it's standing in the water. And here you can see like there's bubbles and churning, and you can see where the paint's coming down. And I've purposely kept this way it's kind of clumped together. I've kind of done the how the water flows, like so, like this. You can see there's like slight reflection here. So again, it's basically the same as this that I've been doing here, but it's a bit more stylized. Everything's a bit more exaggerated. I want the focus to be the deer and stuff, and the focal points here, so I haven't got as much texture going around. But I've still got like some rocks here to show this is like water. And so is my water painting process. I hope this video is helpful to you. I might post more videos in the future. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. Thank you for watching.